We've already talked about the insane gaming potential of the 2026 Apple TV. We've already gone over the cinema-level picture and audio quality Apple is aiming for. But there's one massive piece of the 2026 Apple TV puzzle we haven't really unpacked yet. And honestly, it might be the most important part of all. If you zoom in on the latest Apple supply chain leaks and analyst reports, a pattern starts to appear. Apple isn't just building a faster streaming box. They're quietly building something much bigger. A local server for your home. Rumors are pointing to a secret hybrid device set to launch alongside or very close to the new Apple TV 2026. Some people are calling it the HomePad. Others are calling it the Apple Home Hub. Name aside, the goal is crystal clear. Apple wants to kick Amazon Echo and Google Nest out of your house for good and become the brain of your entire smart home. Today, we're going deep into the brain of the 2026 Apple TV. We're going to talk about why this box is the key to the next generation of on-device AI, why it might launch with a totally new kind of Apple TV remote, and why this could finally fix the frustrating, half-broken, dumb smart home experience so many of us are stuck with. Let's start with the weirdest rumor that suddenly makes sense when you put it next to the 2026 Apple TV. The robotic screen. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has been reporting for months that Apple is testing a home device with a robotic arm and a display. On its own, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But once you connect it to the Apple TV 2026 leaks, the picture gets a lot clearer. Here's the theory. The 2026 Apple TV is the headless computer. It's the hidden brain that sits in your media cabinet or behind your TV plugged into power and Ethernet, doing all the heavy AI and processing work. But a brain needs a face. That's where this companion smart display comes in. Think of it as an iPad-style screen that doesn't need to be powerful on its own. You could mount it on a wall, leave it on your kitchen counter, or put it on a nightstand. Instead of running everything locally, it would stream its intelligence directly from the Apple TV 2026 box in your living room. By separating the screen from the brain, Apple can sell you one powerful Apple TV 2026 that runs all the AI, smart home logic, and heavy processing, and multiple cheaper, thinner, dumb displays for different rooms that simply act as windows into that central brain. This is basically the Sonos strategy, but for video, voice, and an eye instead of just audio. One powerful hub, many synchronized endpoints, and if that rumored robotic arm device exists, imagine this. A HomePod with a screen that can physically tilt or rotate to face you as you move around the room, while the Apple TV 2026 in your cabinet handles the AI, video feeds, HomeKit automation, and more. Now, let's talk about why this brain matters so much. We all know that current Siri, to put it kindly, is limited. You ask it to turn off the living room lights, and half the time you get, "Here's what I found on the web." That's not a smart home assistant. That's a glorified search shortcut. But now imagine Siri running on the Apple TV 2026 with an A18 or a 19 class chip. This chip isn't just about higher frame rates in Apple Arcade. It's built to handle large language models, LLMs, the same kind of foundational AI technology behind tools like ChatGPT. Except this time, it's running locally on your own hardware, inside your own house. So why does running AI locally on the Apple TV 2026 matter? Two reasons: speed and privacy. Right now, when you use most smart assistants, your voice gets recorded, sent to a data center, processed in the cloud, and then the answer is sent back. That round trip is what causes the annoying lag. You say, "Turn off the kitchen lights," and you get working on that pause. And then maybe it happens. With a powerful chip inside the 2026 Apple TV acting as your home server, that changes completely. Your voice request gets processed right there in your living room. No cloud, no external servers, no round trip. Just instant local AI. So when you say turn off the lights. It just happens. No delays, no buffering. No, I found this on the web nonsense. This real-time responsiveness is the holy grail of smart homes, and Apple is one of the only companies with the silicon and optimization to do it truly offline, at scale, for regular users. And that brings us to what might be the single biggest selling point of the Apple TV 2026 as a smart home hub: privacy. Let's be blunt. Google and Amazon sell smart speakers and smart displays at incredibly low prices. Sometimes $30 or even less during sales. That's not because the hardware is cheap to make. It's because you're the product. Your voice queries, your smart home routines, your behavior patterns, those can all feed into advertising and profiling systems. That's the trade-off. Apple's business model is different. They charge more for hardware and then promise not to monetize your personal data. So if the 2026 Apple TV comes in at $149 or $199, that higher price is part of the pitch. You pay up front for the box, so your data isn't the thing being sold. As our homes fill up with cameras, microphones, smart locks, and motion sensors. People are getting more nervous about who's listening and who's watching. The Apple TV 2026 is being positioned as the secure digital vault for your home life. Home security camera footage stored locally with secure video features tightly integrated into Apple's ecosystem. Voice processing done on device rather than streamed to a cloud service. Health and workout data from Apple Fitness Plus and your Apple Watch handled locally whenever possible if you're privacy conscious. This isn't just another streaming box. It's the one box in your house you can trust to sit at the center of everything without turning your daily life into an advertising profile. Apple is betting that a lot of users will happily pay a premium for a private, encrypted offline brain that runs their smart home now. Let's zoom in on one smaller piece of hardware that could quietly be a huge upgrade. The Apple TV remote. The current Siri remote is fine. It's slim, it's silver, it looks nice, and it somehow still manages to vanish into your couch cushions every single week. Rumors suggest that the 2026 Apple TV remote might finally fix that problem using ultra-wideband or UWB across the ecosystem. Imagine this. You can pull out your iPhone, open the Find My app, and see your Apple TV 2026 remote just like an AirTag. You get precise on-screen arrows guiding you to exactly where it is, even if it's wedged under a blanket or behind the sofa. That alone is a quality of life feature that a lot of people will love. But that's only step one. Apple patents have hinted at something even more interesting: adaptive, context-aware controls. Instead of a static set of buttons that always do the same thing, picture a hybrid remote, physical controls for volume, play, pause, and a few core actions, plus a small touch-sensitive or contextual control area that changes based on what you're doing. If you're watching Netflix or Apple TV Plus, you see playback-related options. If you're adjusting your smart lights, those same controls morph into sliders or shortcuts for brightness and color. If you're gaming on Apple Arcade, they could turn into additional game controls. Not quite a full touchscreen remote. That might still be too expensive for mass adoption, but a clever hybrid design that gives you just enough adaptability without sacrificing battery life or tactile feel. Think of it as the magic mouse moment for the living room. Familiar, but smarter and more flexible than what came before. Now, we need to talk about something that sounds boring, but is absolutely critical if Apple wants the 2026 Apple TV to be the true heart of your smart home: protocols.